have a review for you on some of these new, well, relatively new Clinique items. These are called the Sculptionary Cheek Contouring Palettes, and I have all 4 shades. They only come in 4 shades. These released earlier this year, somewhere around February they came to the United States, and I think somewhere in like April they came to Canada. I purchased most of these online, and then I got one of them at the counter. You can get them for $34 Canadian. I'm not sure how much they were in the States. I think they were $32, so there wasn't much of a price difference between the two. These are more of like a blush or a highlight blush compared to any kind of contouring palette or even contouring powder. They all fall within sort of blush colors. They have that pinky or orangey tones to them. None of them are in that contour color, and they all have a lot of shimmer in them, which is not something that you want for a contour. I'm not sure why they call them a contour palette. I think that they were trying to fall within that trend of contour that was really popular at the beginning of this year. Overall though, I think that if you just consider them as a blush rather than exactly what they're called as a contour palette, I think that it's a really nice addition to any makeup collection. I think that the powder is really soft and blendable. They aren't extremely pigmented to the point where you need to be really careful with how you apply. You can kind of be liberal with it and not worry too much about it, which I think is a really nice thing about these blushes. A lot of Clinique makeup is like that. None of them are super pigmented. A lot of them are really nice. They blend out really nicely, and they have that quality to them that you can never really apply too much of it. So I think that's a really nice quality. I guess you could technically contour your cheeks with the different colors in here, but I feel like it's laid out a little bit funny, so it makes it a little bit harder to sort of do any kind of contouring. You have a darker shade at the bottom here, a mid-tone shade, and then almost like a highlight shade. So technically you could kind of put this at the back of your cheekbones or a little bit lower. You could put the lighter color sort of at the front of the cheekbones or really at the apples of your cheek, and then you could use the lightest shade as a highlighter. But I find that getting my brush into something that small, because it is quite small in comparison to the rest of them, makes it a little bit hard to contour, but I just prefer to swirl them all together to use them a little bit more like a blush or like a highlighting blush. The packaging on these is really nice. They have a clear top so you can see the color underneath, but they don't come with a mirror, so it's just personal preference if you prefer one with a mirror or one with a clear top. I usually do all my makeup at home in front of a mirror, so I don't usually ever need my blushes to have a mirror, and usually I'll have a bronzer with a mirror in it anyways. Them not having a mirror is not a big deal for me. I actually like the fact that it's clear on top so I can see what color I'm picking out really easily. So as I said, I do have all 4 shades. These 4 shades are the 4 shades that are available at the counters. If you go online to the Clinique website, whether it be the Canadian website or the US website, there are 2 more shades that are online exclusives. There is one pink shade that I think is called Defining Pinks, and they have one that's more of a correcting powder, so it has like a light lavender pink color to it, as well as a yellow and almost like a greeny blue. I believe those are the 3 colors, and you're supposed to swirl them all together to get more of like a correcting powder. It's not meant to be a blush, I don't think, but I didn't pick up either of those because they're not available at the counters, and I kind of wanted to look at them before I picked them up in person. But I do really enjoy the 4 that I have that are available at all Clinique counters as well as at Sephora. So the first one I have is Defining Nectars. It's one of the lighter ones out of the 4 I have. It has peach or orange undertones to it. It's really nice on fair skin tone because it is quite light. It would act as probably a really pretty peach highlight if you had deeper undertones. The next one I have is Defining Berries. This is probably the darkest out of the 4 I have. It's more of like a deep rose or berry undertone. It's definitely more pink and more berry. It's really nice to add sort of like a flushness to your cheeks while also adding a little bit of luminescence. I think that this one would work on many skin tones because it is a little bit deeper, but you could definitely sheer it out for someone who has more fair skin tone. The next one I have is Defining Roses. This one is a little bit more warm and pink undertone than Defining Berries. When you see them together, Defining Berries, which is this one, is a little bit more cool tone tone and a little bit deeper, where Defining Rose is a little bit more warm tone and a little bit lighter. I think that Defining Rose is a really nice sort of natural, almost like mauve-y natural blush, and it has that option of having it a little bit darker because this one does have a little bit more of a brown undertone to it, the darkness, where the other ones are a little bit more pink. I also think that this one would be really nice on many skin tones because it's a little bit more deep, and it would be a really nice highlight on someone who has really deep skin tones because it has that warmer or almost like nude appearance to it. And the last one of the 4 I have is called Defining Nudes. This one is a really light one. I think it might be the lightest of the entire collection that I have. It's very nude. It almost has slight fleshy or peachy undertones, but definitely not as peach as Defining Nectars. As you can see here, Defining Nectars, which is this one right here, has a lot more peach or orange undertones to it, where Defining Nudes is a lot more just a nude color. I think that this one could work as a really nice highlight for many skin tones. A really deep skin tones, it might show up a little bit ashy, but someone with olive skin tone or more of a warmer, deeper skin tone, I think it would be beautiful. And for someone who is fair like myself, it's a really nice natural blush that adds a luminescence to your cheeks. Overall, I would really recommend these blushes. Once you get past that sort of contour sculptionary words that are in the titles and just establish that these are pretty much blushes, I think that they are really nice quality. They blend out really well. They're not overly pigmented, so you don't need to worry about using a light hand or a lighter brush. You can just put it on, blend out. You can always add more, and I think that's a really nice quality to some of the Clinique products. I think that the luminescence to them is really nice. They don't have big chunky glitter in them. They are quite shimmery, so just keep that in mind. They're not matte at all, but they are just really pretty, and I'm really happy I picked up all 4, although when I picked them up I was kind of more hoping that they could be more of that contour palette, but I have so much contour right now, and contour is kind of just everywhere, that I think that they're just a really nice blush addition to my collection. I hope you all have enjoyed this review that I've done for you on these Clinique Sculptionary Cheek Contour Palette. If you've tried any of these, especially the ones that are only on the website, definitely let me know your thoughts below. I am kind of interested to get those too, but I definitely want to hear some people's thoughts before I splurge and get them. And thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned.